that one thing, if you can have one skill in business, it's implement what you learn immediately. Don't write it on a piece of paper and then set it on your desk. Like, I'll get to that someday. Just do it. Do one thing today and just do it right now. Don't wait.
AI is taking over the home services. Well, not quite, but it kind of feels like it some days. It's in just about everything that we do, from helping our technicians out in the field to answering the phones to messaging customers to now even integrating within our CRMs and our field management software. Josh Crouch with Relentless Digital, he's been all up in AI since the very beginning of it as it started to roll out into the home services. He loved automations and then mirrored the two. And now he is running not only a digital marketing company, but also an automations company as well. You're really going to enjoy this conversation as he gets pretty passionate about some things. As I'm sure if you've seen Josh online on social media, you've seen his passionate posts come out a time or two. But I love this conversation with Josh. He's a dear friend of mine, someone that I've relied on and bounced ideas off of for years within the space. And I think you're really going to love this episode. Let me know what you think afterwards. Cheers. Josh, my friend, welcome to the show. I'm excited to have you on. I know we tried to do this back in, what was it, January when we were at AHR. We talked about potentially getting together, but we both got busy. You were running your own podcast, and I mean, it's a massive show and everything too. So I'm glad you made some time for today. And only 4 days till the big day.
Yeah, I was going to say, when we last talked about doing this, we both had some life changes come up, and things are a little different than the last time we did this on the old show that we had, that you guys had. So things are vastly different in both of our worlds, both personal and professional. So it's always good to catch up with you, Evan.
Yeah, man. No, I appreciate it a lot. So I got to ask, 11 years you've been engaged. You've been with Brittany for a long, long time. Why now? Like at this point, you guys aren't going anywhere. You're together. You're committed to the business. You're committed to your family. You got kids, the
Moved
whole
across the
bit.
country together.
Moved across the country together.
Yep.
Like, why now? Why did you take the plunge now?
Honestly, I think that's a better question for Brittany because I've been ready for a long time. Like I knew, I think she just didn't know, and I guess
She didn't know you were the one.
she probably knew. It's just she has commitment issues, I guess. So, she would agree with me, so I can say that and not get heat for it later. But we finally, like, we were actually going to get married, a double wedding with her sister like 5 or 6 years ago. But then
Okay.
sister quarreling and like just issues there where one wanted to go. Brittany was the oldest, so she wanted to go first down the aisle with her dad, and the sister didn't want that. And it was just this whole thing. And it's like she's like, "You just have your day. We'll have our day at some point in the future," which ended up being years later and a 2,000-mile trek across the country to somewhere a little warmer. But it's all worked out. Like we're at such a good place in our relationship, and we know that we've gone through those first few years where the first few years you're still feeling each other out, who's doing what in the relationship. So we're in a really good place.
When you guys had kids young too, which I mean that puts a huge strain on a relationship at any point in it, let alone when you're just getting started and you're young and figuring life out. You don't have a lot of money and all the things that come along with it. So, yeah, definitely in a vastly different position in life now.
Yeah, makes things it's very exciting moving forward because now that we've gotten our business off the ground and have multiple businesses where they're all revenue producing and doing well, it's now we can like actually plan fun things that literally remember, and I haven't shared this story. I was going to share it in a future Facebook post that I'm doing. I'm kind of doing this like 5 days before the wedding series, just some stories and stuff. And literally, I don't know if you're ever familiar with an app called Ibotta. And so
Oh,
it's essentially like a coupon app where you have to scan all the QR codes of the boxes of the stuff that's on sale and scan the receipts and all this stuff, and then you get money back you can use towards like Amazon gift cards and everything. He's literally used to do this every single time at the grocery store when we were together. This was like only like 5 or 6 years ago. It wasn't that long ago. I still remember it vividly. And I would cut coupons, do all these things, like things that you probably don't envision me doing because I knew we needed. It was just at that time, it's like it's kind of the whole concept behind relentless, right? Like we're going to do what it takes to get wherever we want to go in life, even if that means cutting coupons and doing things like that that are not the most sexy things to admit to a group of people.
No, it's definitely not, but at the end of the day, I mean, what's the quote? Live like nobody else today so you can have what no one else has tomorrow, like that kind of an idea, right? And being able to make those small sacrifices, it's really cool. I'm super pumped for you guys, honestly. Like, I had no idea that you weren't married, to be
Most
honest. You
people
guys
didn't.
are together.
Yeah,
Yeah, you're together all the time.
I know. Well, so here's the thing, like in probably culture in other countries too, but in North America, like when you say you're engaged or a fiance, the next question that comes out of everybody's mouth, when you get married,
When's the date? Yep,
when's the date? Did you set a date? Where are you going? What are you going to do? So we're like, at a certain point, when you answer the question enough times, you're like, yeah, we're just married. We're done. We're husband and wife when we introduce ourselves. I think
yep,
most people on our baseball travel team and almost everyone down here thinks we're married because we didn't the people that are close to us we told, but other than
right.
that, we're like, we're married, we're husband and wife. Just don't worry about it. Don't ask us the question because then we got to go into, oh, we met 13 years ago. We've been engaged for 11 years. Like this whole thing. People are like, really? I'm like, yeah, yeah. Just it's better just to not have the conversation so we can move on to something else.
No, it makes total sense to me. I mean, I was the exact same boat, to be honest. My now ex, I mean, we were together for 12 years and never got married. We didn't even get engaged. But I definitely called her my wife, just to make it easier. And when you're 30 years old and you've got a girlfriend still and you've got 3 kids together and a house together and a rental
You feel
property
married.
together and all the other stuff. Yeah, exactly. Like it's a
It's
piece
not.
of
It's
paper
really,
isn't going to
really. It's just
dictate
that
that.
legal binding document is the one single thing that's missing. Everything else is
Yeah.
like, yeah, we're pretty much. We bought vehicles together. We bought 4 or 5 houses together. Yeah, we moved across the country. We got 4 animals. Like we are as tied in as we can possibly get without having that piece of paper.
Exactly. Yeah, I always thought it was funny when the first piece of paper that we legally binded each other together with was a corporation document. So, um, so you've been running Relentless now for
Sure.
7 years, is that right?
No, just over 5.
Just over
We
5.
so
Okay,
we yeah, it literally started February of 2020, right before like, that's when
got it.
the first client was, like, February 27th or 28th. It was, like, right before 2
Right,
weeks
right, right.
before everything shut down.
Right. So you were just after Thad and I had started OPM at the time because we started in
We
November was when we bought the domain.
Yeah, literally right around the same time that you guys
That's
started.
crazy.
Actually, several of us
And
started
you've
in that year that we all know.
yeah, Eric was right there too.
Eric was, like,
Um
October of that year.
Well, and you've gone through some massive transformations when it comes to business. Like I always respected the hell out of you in the industry specifically because you were willing to do the work, you did the research, you trained on it, you were a thought leader in the industry and wanting to get out there and teach people the right way to do things, teach contractors what it is that they should be looking for when it comes to to your digital marketing. Because when you and I both started it, like there was a lot of contractors getting ripped off and a lot of shady stuff that was happening, a lot of hidden stuff. There wasn't a lot of transparency, and you stepped up big time to fill that void. And it was because of your background and where you came from, largely because of being the operations manager out at a home service company. Um, but you always impressed the hell out of me when it came to your just approach to business in general, and then watching you grow into an actual owner and not just someone who owns a job. Um, Walk me through that little like when did you flip the switch
I would love
and
to
how
say
difficult was
yeah.
that?
Yeah, that's a great topic because so many of the clients that you work with, whether it was in the past or now with what you're doing, and myself, we all we see this every day when people have these conversations. But first of all, I really appreciate you saying those kind words. That was very kind of you, especially since we were competitors for so many years, friendly
So
competitors,
many
but
years.
competitors
Yeah.
nonetheless. Um, but yeah, I don't know if it was a gradual thing I mean, it definitely wasn't like an immediate lights. I think a lot of people, they look at like, the Tommies and the Ishmaels and the Victors, like, oh, it was like an immediate, like, they're the overnight success. But what you don't see is all of the hours deep diving into all of these things. Because like when I was in the trades, as an HVAC contractor, I didn't manage our website. I didn't do SEO for our own site. Like, this was all new to me after I started the company. I literally started. We were only doing Google Business, well, Google My Business at that point in time. That's all we did. And we did that for the first 12 to 18 months until I realized that we needed a little bit more to be sticky. Otherwise, some of our larger competitors who are still friendly, we know them well, would manage for free what we were doing as a paid service, and you can't compete. It's very hard to compete with free.
Right.
So it's just
No matter how worse it was.
yeah, and how light that management was, or what management
Yeah.
meant versus growth.
If you could even call it that. Yeah.
But honestly, it was just a transition where every time that we hit what I felt like a glass ceiling, like our first glass ceiling was around 1 million in annual recurring revenue, and it was lack of people. Then our next one was right around 3 million. It was because we didn't have like repeatable systems, processes, documented, connected to tasks and all those things. And then we hit the next plateau was a leadership plateau of just not having more than myself and Brittany, and then really start departmentalizing all of these different things. So that way everyone had leaders, and then they had sub leaders, and everyone knew who they were going to talk to. And it's just been such a gradual thing. It's crazy because 5 years is not a long time, but it feels like a long time. But then you tell people the story, and some people have been at it for 15 or 20 years, and they're not anywhere close to where we've become. So it's humbling when we talk about that, and I reflect on it a little bit, because it's like, wow, we really have done something pretty cool here. But it's been a journey, man. Like, I just constantly want to learn, like our podcasts like yours, when we get all these really super smart people. My biggest thing that I've always been really good at is when I was in CEO Warrior at the last HVAC company I worked at, I just implemented fast. Like, I learned something and I did it. I learned something and I did it. I learned something, I did it. I just kept doing that. That one thing, if you can have one skill in business, it's implement what you learn immediately. Don't write it on a piece of paper and then set it on your desk. Like, I'll get to that someday. Just do it. Do one thing today and just do it right now. Don't wait. And the problem is, oh, the phone's ringing, or I got, someone's texting me, or, someone needs me in the field. And then we just get distracted. You got to implement. Or if you can't implement, you got to hire an implementer, somebody that is literally that person for you, and be like, hey, go learn this stuff, implement what they teach, and just trust them. Because there's so many good
Right.
coaches in our space, whether it's the agency space, which we both been a part of, or in the HVAC, plumbing, electrical world. Like, there's so many good coaches that have grown and sold businesses. Just listen to them. Just implement what they give you, and you will be successful. The roadmap is there. Like, we don't have to
Mhm.
reinvent the wheel, but people always feel like they have to, they got to get more creative, or they got to try it a different way, or they got to be unique. Just follow
Well,
the
that's not how we do it in my business. I can't do it that way. This
everyone's
isn't what we
market is
do.
unique.
Yeah. Yep. That doesn't work in my market.
It never
Yeah.
does.
No. Well, when it comes to vetting coaches, and I mean vendors, anything, what kind of advice or feedback do you have for people when it comes to picking the right partners? Because, unfortunately, there have been some shysters out there. I know there's a particular a Facebook group that continues to blast a particular best practice group right now. And yeah, it's fun to watch, sit back and watch a little bit. But
Unfortunately,
what,
the
what,
only
what
way
kind of
I get to
feedback do
hear
you have for
about,
people?
I know who you're talking about, but the only way I know what's going on is because people share with me, because I am blocked from both
You
of
got
them.
kicked out. Yeah, a long time ago.
Blocked from I am blocked from most of the influencers in our space, except for the ones that I think are actually ethical and don't have anything to hide. But
It's probably for the best, anyways. It
it's
probably
made my
gave you a
life
lot
so
more
much
peace of
better,
mind.
because I was literally, for a little bit there, I became like, you guys all had the jokes. Like, literally, I was the guy like, oh, what's Josh? It was like literally people were just probably waiting for me to get on the computer to see what I was going
Yep.
to say, which
You were the keyboard warrior.
Put that on my resume, keyboard warrior. Um, but yeah, it cost so much extra, and then just stuff would go back and forth, and it was just messy, and it was not. You again, you want to grow a business, you got to limit the distractions. So again, lesson learned. You don't know until you
Yep,
know. But now it's more. I do try to keep to what we need to do and what's good for the contractor, and not necessarily try to save everyone. Sometimes, it's one of those things, it's probably an ego thing, right? Like, you feel like I was a contractor and I worked at a small HVAC business, and there's a lot of things I didn't know that I learned that I wanna make sure people, like, know not to get taken advantage of, because there's a lot of very shady people out there, and we hear it every year. Every summer, someone does a 2020 Dateline type thing, and somebody gets hit, and they're trying to charge a 95-year-old person a $30,000 system install. Like, it just happened last year with Gold Medal, which originally
yep,
was owned by Mike Aguilario, who started CEO Warrior. Now, Mike's a great person, but um, the way these businesses get sold, especially private equity, they're just trying to push the revenue, push the net profit. They don't care who is on the other end of that system. So homeowners and real people are getting hurt.
yep.
But as far as the
Well, and it's putting a bad rap on the whole industry in general, right? And
well,
it's what
nobody trusts.
feeds that narrative that you can't trust them.
Yeah, nobody trusts the home service industry, so they turn to tools
Yeah,
like Home Advisor and Angie and Yelp and these things that we all have to pay as lead aggregators, because they're like, well, they must know because they guaranteed the contractor is ethical, which is we know is not really the case. But
yeah,
to answer your question, as far as the coaching groups, I would try to find the bigger groups, the ones that have been around. There's been some ones that were like they sold their business, they're individual coaches, or they rocketed up quickly. Hopefully, some of you get that reference. And all of a sudden, you don't really hear much from that, because it was like an overnight success. And then they're all of a sudden they're going to coach other people the new way to do contracting. Contracting has changed, but it has not changed that much.
mhm,
Memberships still work. Taking care of people still works. Ethical service still works. 5-star quality work and communication still works. Like, the core fundamentals of business still work, but people try to sell you on you got to get the next fancy shiny object, and it's just crap.
right. Yeah, Jim Rohn always said, "Be wary of the salesman touting newly manufactured antiques." Like, there's no
And
such thing as a
that's a great
new
way to put it,
antique.
because that's exactly what it
Yeah,
is. It's just they're just repurposing something that's already there. I don't know if it's I don't know who it was, but somebody said, like, there's nothing new really created in this world anymore. Very few. Obviously, AI is one of those things that's going to completely
yep,
revolutionize everything. But outside of that, like, not much. We just get like, they put out new vacuum cleaners. They're just modifications of old vacuum cleaners. They're no different than they were 50 years ago. They're just a little bit better, maybe made a little bit differently, can twist and turn a different way. Like, nothing's really that new. It's just a different spin on something that's already been there.
right. And they all suck. Um,
Unless you get one of the robotic ones that you don't have to
there you
actually do
go.
anything with.
It just does it for you.
Yeah.
I was actually looking at the lawnmower ones that are like that because I got a decent sized yard here and I would love to not have to
I don't
mow
even
it
remember
anymore.
what grass looks like.
Yeah, you just got dirt and rocks now. Some cacti.
Yeah.
Um, on the subject of AI, and obviously this is a hot topic, you and your business partner, best friend, Tersh, you guys are heavy into AI and automation. You've got your school group, which you can talk about and plug in here all you want, because I think it's fantastic that you guys are doing that. But when it comes to, let's go to the marketing side of it first. AI search, people are concerned about it. How do I do this? It's going to take over Google. I know you posted about this, I think just the other day too, talking about it. But where do you see it playing right now? And at what pace do you think people need to actually start paying attention to it? Because right now it's such an insignificant percentage of search, but I'll let you speak to it.
Yeah, so it's interesting because everyone's like, "Oh, ChatGPT is gonna be the next Google," right? Well, here's the reality, like, everyone talks about ChatGPT is growing. Well, Google, if you look, they're actually growing in the number of search queries that come in every single day with their platform too. So what does that mean? It means people are using more than one tool to do search. I use
Yep.
ChatGPT every day. I use Google every day. So I'm using both, but for completely different things. Now, I do search sometimes more so for testing purposes on ChatGPT, but mostly I'm using it as an assistant. I want it to help
Right.
Give me outlines for videos, scripting, especially for content marketing. I use a lot for that stuff. Or if I just want to search ideas or have it like, if I can't think of something immediately, like just help me brainstorm, get me going so I can start using my creativity from that point forward. People do use it for search. And I did share somebody posted a Looker Studio, which used to be Google Data Studio, if you're not familiar with Looker Studio, a report where if whatever, as long as you're logged into the email that's connected to your Google Analytics account, you can plug this URL in and you can actually see how many times ChatGPT, Gemini, or Perplexity referred traffic to your website.
Oh,
So
interesting.
it's interesting. I looked at I actually had my executive assistant look through like 50 accounts this morning just to kind of get an idea on how much contractor traffic is being driven. And it seems like big markets, more people, more tech savvy. They seem to be kind of leading with as far as getting referred to those sites. Our site's gotten like 62 sessions this year. So national companies, our podcast had like 41 or something like that. So some traffic, but the real problem is not ChatGPT stealing your traffic. It's Google's AI overview system is stealing your literal traffic because the answer is right there. And I did this for
Yep.
a long time plumbing client. She's probably been a client for 4.5 years now. And I started looking and I'm like, okay, you start looking and like, okay, traffic's down, rankings are steady and still really good. What's going on? Like, why is this not making sense? And clicks and Google Search Console were way down. And so I literally just went to an incognito tab. I'm like, okay, I'm just literally going to type in the exact same query and see what shows up. Well, sure enough, they're listed in the sources of the AI overview and they're the number one spot on these blog posts, but nobody's clicking anymore. They lost like 60 to 70% of their blog traffic because the answer is right in front of the person. They don't have to go and click the blue link. Was this what I wanted? Nope, they just go back. So it's the real problem today is Google and AI overviews. It's stealing your traffic that normally goes to your website from your, especially blog and informational style stuff.
Yeah, and I think that's the important differentiator is that it is only on those information style search queries. So someone searching how much does a new air conditioner cost in my area, you're going to get that AI overview. Why is my air conditioner blowing hot air? You're going to get that overview. If someone's searching for your direct service, AC repair near me, plumber near me, that AI overview doesn't show up anymore, at least not yet.
Yeah, and
Could it?
I have seen screenshots where they instead of like 3 companies on page 1 from apps, they'll show like 7 or 8 in like an AI mode because they have
Yeah.
AI overviews, and then there's a little toggle you can turn AI mode on, which AI mode will give you almost always AI type answers. But
Right.
either way, the one good thing that we have as far as the audience listening is the contractors, until somebody figures out something better than the Google Business Profile, that is still gonna show up when people search near me, in my area, or they just search the key term and want a provider. Because
Yep.
Bing doesn't have that. Apple does not have that. I'm shocked Apple hasn't figured it out or gone after that because they already have hundreds of millions of devices in North America alone. They just haven't done Apple's I don't have an Apple phone, so I can say this, but I hate Apple. They just move very slowly. Like, Android always comes out with new features, and then Apple, like 2 years later, has, "Oh, the same new feature," and, like, I'm like, "I've had that for 2 years."
Yep.
But don't tell anyone with an Apple phone that because then they'll look at you funny, like, "Oh, you send the green text messages."
Yeah, exactly.
But, yeah.
Well, it only just happened because my girlfriend, Lizzie, she's got all Apple everything. And yeah, she's like, our videos that we would share and pictures that we would share, it would always show up super grainy. And then
That
they
that is
toggled and
that
it
was frustrating.
was incredibly frustrating. And then Apple was the one that finally caught up to Android and said, okay, we can get on the same messaging system and make sure that we can send these videos back and forth now. Like it was the dumbest thing, but it was their own stubbornness. And now they've even switched to USB-Cs. So
I
there you
know, and
go.
they have I know the same charging port. I'm like, because like,
Yeah.
Church and I travel together, Brittany and I are like, "Oh, we can only just bring 1 charger now instead of 2 because we can use
Yeah.
the same one."
They finally caught up. Um, no, I think you're bang on. And it was really interesting. I was at a cafe just in town. I was working on my computer. Group of women were at a table beside me, and I didn't have my headphones in or anything like that. I was just working away, and I could hear them having a full on discussion about this event that they were planning. And they said, "Oh, I'll just GPT it," probably about 17 times throughout the conversation. And it was things that you would probably normally search on Google, but now they're flipping to GPT to try and find that answer for it. And I actually found that quite concerning because they were still informational style posts. So with things that like blogs would pull up, but GPT is going to give you one answer based on a whole bunch of research that it's going to do, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's the right one. And that's the thing that kind of concerns me the most with most people is that they're giving up their ability to discern through information now, and they're just relying on one thing to give them the answer.
Yeah, I've seen, I don't remember if it was again, it's probably too early to call it like a study, but somebody had, done it was either a post or a study where people that like power users of ChatGPT are literally becoming addicted to using it, where they just won't do anything themselves. They'll just use ChatGPT for everything.
Yeah.
Which we already are addicted to screens and phones and devices and everything and social media. Like it, I mean, we nobody knows what the future is going to hold, but right now, I don't like what it looks like. At least where
Yeah.
we think it's going to go. We're going to be on our devices 12 hours a day. Like,
Yep.
it's just we're gonna have a completely digital world, which is great for everyone that is in a software company because they can serve us more ads and get in front of us more. But for human relationships and your mental health and stuff like that's not good.
No, definitely not. Let me ask you this. In terms of, running a business or for contractors specifically, because you run a group that's dedicated towards teaching them about AI and automation, what are like the top 1 to 3 things that they should be implementing today when it comes to AI in their business?
Yeah, that's a great question. And this is kind of like the question I keep getting asked is, where should we start with automation? Because a lot of I've asked the question so many times over the years of, hey, what would you like to automate? And then people
Yep.
come back to me like, well, what can I automate? And it's just like this back and forth of like, well, I don't know what tools do you have? Like all these things, but really, there's core things in any business, and most com most companies, even if the ones are just all my leads are word of mouth, which is never true. You're spending something on marketing. You spend something on truck wraps, yard signs, stickers, door hang something. You really need to when those opportunities come in, and you know this being a marketer and especially now being more of a CMO, how many missed opportunities contractors have. And the nice thing is, all of these platforms, even the ones that most people don't like in the trades, Home Advisor, Angie, Yelp, Thumbtack, they all have APIs that we can bring those leads into one place and immediately respond, which we all know is 90% of the battle of getting the lead is to be the first one to respond. I think the
Yep.
stat I've seen is like 78% of homeowners usually do business with the first company that responds. Think about
Okay.
that. 4 out of 5 people are going to do business with you if you're the first one to respond. So if you win at one thing, that's the one thing to win at is just be fast. You don't even have to be good, just be fast. And so things like web form submissions, which we all know those get lost in email inboxes. There's been plenty of studies out there where people have literally actually Valve Meter did a study. Stumbled on one from like 3 years ago. They reached out to like 500 contractors, and I think 40% of those contractors had not responded within 5 days. 40%. That's 200 of the 500 contractors. I'm like, blows my mind. And this was 3
Yeah.
years ago. This was like the height of COVID, the end of COVID anyways. Like, think of how the opportunities that we had during that 2-year period when everyone was having the best month ever every single month because it was easy to grow. And then now they're struggling because they don't have the systems or the infrastructure. And they were like, well, I just need more leads. Just give me more
Yep.
leads, Evan. That's all I need is just need
Yep.
more. That's it. No, you need to take care of the ones you have because that's
Hmm.
what's going to keep your marketing spend down. That's always been like, even when I was in the trades, like everyone talk, like I know certain influencers like, we got to spend 15 to 18% of your budget on marketing. Sure. If you really want to blow up and grow fast, that's sure. But you're not going to make any money at the end of the year. which for some people is fine if they reinvest it all. But our marketing spend at the last company that I worked at was about 2.5% every single year. And we grew 50 to
Wow.
60% a year because we just answered the phone. And I was always the person. Now, I didn't have automation for some of these things because it's come a long way in the last 5 years.
Right.
I literally had preset text messages when home advisor leads came in. I literally had them saved on my phone, copy paste. Like that was my speed to lead at the time because I didn't have the automated system to do it. But same thing with Thumbtack. I preset all of those. Anything that came in with a web form or it was just immediate, like boom, let's get in touch with them. And then one, they already had a great feeling about our business because we were fast. Like, oh, these guys must want my business because they responded to me quickly. And it's just those little things like that. And you can automate most of that now. And now you can even use AI chatbots to have the conversation and book leads. It's happening hundreds of thousands of times a day. And you just don't even know it. We had one one of our clients, he's in Dallas, super nice guy. He actually was with the new flat rate at my second HVAC company. So he was one of my trainers. So it was like my life
Oh,
was
nice.
coming full circle. Now he's a client. And he an elderly lady had a great conversation with, I'm putting air quotes up here, Rachel. Rachel was our AI. That's what we named our AI bot, just because it sounded like a wholesome name, somebody you'd like to be friends with. And she brought cookies to the office because of how wonderful and helpful Rachel was. So the lady that actually is at the front, that's the human that's there, had to kind of play it off like she was Rachel because she was really confused until it dawned on her that it was the AI bot. She's like, oh yeah, well sometimes people call me Rachel. It was great. I'm like, but the thing is, people don't even know this is happening. Homeowners don't.
Right.
They don't know. I mean, you can tell on voice still sometimes, but like text interaction, email interaction, people don't really know unless you do those stupid M dashes, those things that
Right.
everyone's getting pissed off about because ChatGPT keeps putting them in everything.
Yep. No, it's fascinating to watch, what's happening in that space. So, how do you then separate yourselves as if all the top competitors are using AI, they're using automation to get that lead as fast as possible. As a consumer, if you got 5 responses within the first 5 seconds of you applying to Angie's or Yelp or anything like that, how do you then differentiate yourself as a contractor to stand out in that first message?
That's a challenging question because most of the first question, you don't know much about the homeowner yet, but there
Yep.
are things that you can like, especially if you've seen enough of these conversations and you can kind of like study what people normally ask for because people want to know if you're a good business, they want to know usually if you're locally owned, they want to know like just basic things like that. So there's some things that you can do. You could send a picture in the first message of you, the husband and the wife that own the company. Just little things that are like make it more personal and make it more like, hey, this is who we are. We're here. We're in your community without having to go and say, hey, we live here. That sort of thing. So you can personalize it in other ways that way. You can send testimonials, reviews, and again, following up. Because a lot of people will do the speed lead part right, but then they try
Right.
once or twice. And we all know the stat. I mean, there's been hundreds and hundreds of studies on it. 7 to 12 times is where the magic is. So if somebody doesn't
Yep.
reply to you until they say stop or unsubscribe, keep following up. I know
Well,
it's hard for people because like I don't want to bug. I hear it all the time. I don't want to bug my customers. Well, your competitor is going to bug them. So
right.
do you want to bug? Does it really bother you if you bug them if they get your customer? And they just stop worrying about bugging them. People will tell you to f off if they don't want to talk to you. They will. So don't.
Yep.
You don't have
They
to.
won't be shy about it. They don't care about your feelings.
Yeah, you don't have to be nice. I mean, be nice, but just you can follow up in certain ways where it's not just like, "Oh, hey, I'm following up again." There's a lot of
Yeah.
I mean, again, this gets into a whole different strategy, and I'm sure you talk about this a lot, being more full funnel strategy versus kind of what we were doing where, marketing companies typically are like more bottom of funnel strategy, but
Yep.
content marketing is huge. Like, I would say one of the biggest reasons that we've continued to grow is we just put out a crap ton of content and we just try to educate as many people as possible. And I get people reaching out all the time that I don't even know are watching my stuff and like, oh my God, I've been watching for 2 years. I love your content. We're going to go with you someday. They're already, they don't even know our price. They've never even done
Yep.
a discovery call with us, and they already are prepositioned to buy. And you can do the same thing locally. Honestly, it's easier locally because you probably don't have as much competition. With what we do, there's feels like millions of marketers doing it to HVAC and plumbing companies because it's like every day we wake up, it's like, oh, I don't know who that is. That's a new one. That's a new
Yep.
competitor. But in the local market, there's kind of a limit to how many people there are. And,
Well, and not many of them are doing some of the simple free marketing strategies at all, let alone well, right?
yeah,
When you think of social media, when you think of email marketing, they're not doing a very good job of those things, because they're so worried about getting new customers. And if they can't quantify it, then they're not gonna do it. And they're too afraid to get on camera. And they come up with all these excuses as to why they can't implement it. And,
that's probably
you
why
look
they
at
don't
some
do
brands.
the first thing I told everyone to do is implement. It's because there's all
Exactly.
these reasons why we can't do some. But what if you did do it? And what if it
Right?
did work?
Yep.
How much better would your life be? And
Yeah.
it's just it I've done, and the reason I say this is because, like, when I was in the trades, I wasn't even the owner of the last company, but literally took it upon myself. I just started creating videos. I'm like, let's see, people call us for service calls, and our techs hate when they go out and they have to flip a switch because some grandkid was down in the basement and flipped the furnace switch off, or the breaker popped, or the disconnect switch was left off in the winter because in Wisconsin, anyways, and well, in Canada, you turn the disconnect switch off because mice will get in there because there's heat around the
Right.
electrical box, and they forget to turn that thing on when the first hot day comes. Just those little tips. I'd literally, when we'd book a service call, Service Titan would send out hey, you're booked on Thursday at 10 a.m. or whatever. And I would just put a little, just in case, just check this quick video out just to make sure that you actually need us for the service call. We would save people's service calls for that. And we would get a glowing customer. We get reviews on that stuff, and we
Yeah.
would service them.
Yep.
And I think a lot of people,
Well,
speaking of reviews, and again, because it's called Let's Vent, I've had customers, and it blows my mind. We try to automate a lot of the review process after the job is completed. I'm sure you guys did the same thing. We would
mhm,
have customers who are like adamant that they didn't want to send them all the time. They didn't want to automate. They want to make sure, like, hey, can you send the, like, did they, what did you think about our service, or would you recommend us, like the thumbs up, thumbs down review gating type thing that we all know we're not supposed to do, instead of just sending the review. And it's because they're worried about their team. Doesn't that tell you something? Maybe you
right,
shouldn't have them on your bus. Like, if you're worried that John is a terrible person and terrible technician, or he smells funny or whatever, you probably shouldn't have him on your team. You should have a conversation with John. We would
right,
send review requests at professional services to estimates, callbacks, everybody. We didn't Every single person got an immediate text message, and we would get 5-star reviews on our estimates, even if they didn't go with us because of how professional we were. We showed up, we did what we said we're gonna do, all the just real not difficult things to do, but we sent it to everybody. And I think people get in their head. They gotta have this perfect reputation and this perfect rating. Doesn't exist. It's in your head. Like, just get as many as you can, and it will tell you the problems you have so you can fix those problems. And again, when you know the fix, do it today. Don't wait and have the conversation in a month or 2 months. Just have it today and get it done.
right. Well, and it was a hack that Amanda Triolo had told us she did when she first started Grasshopper, was she went through all of her competitors in the market and she looked at all their one-star reviews. She wanted to know what the market was complaining about and then just not do those at her company. And you can do it for yourself. You can audit your own business just by reading those one-star reviews, because even when he talked to contractors all the time. Oh, this customer's full of shit. They don't know. They're lying. They're not even a customer, whatever it is. There's if we actually look past that, there's often some root of truth behind what it is that they're saying. And even if they were just a little bit cranky, even if they were just fishing for a discount, there's something that we can learn from that and implement back in the business. And I'm a big believer in we can learn something from everything. So why not take that opportunity to do that? And I think it comes back to, again, the implementation thing. It's too hard.
Yeah, well, and now, I mean, there's with the tools that are out there, the Claudes, the ChatGPTs, you have no excuse not to do the research. You don't have to be
Right.
super smart to use these tools. Just say you wanna do the analysis of your top 5 competitors, grab the Google Maps link or Google review link of those 5 competitors. It will scan it for you, and it will tell you what their one-star reviews and what you should avoid or how you can even ask it like, "Hey, based on the analysis, how should I go about marketing my business by keeping these things in mind?" And it does it for you. Like, there's
Right.
no there's there's always been a we've been in an information age for a long time, but there literally is no excuse why you can't grow today.
Right.
You're not implementing, you're being lazy, you're distracted with TikTok videos and things that are a distraction, and you're not doing the things you should be doing. But the analysis of these things, the things that were really hard, and you had to I remember the first time we did what we called war planning in CEO Warrior, which was like lay our whole year out, do all the financial planning, how many jobs do we need, budgeting, everything like that. It was a 3-day intensive workshop with massive, massive spreadsheets with formulas. Like, you really had to know what you were doing to put this thing together, and you had to be coached on how to use it. Now, we can build those in, like, minutes. I've done it. Like, I literally there's tools like bolt.new. You can build calculators. I built ROI calculators. I built one that I gave away for free to, people that had attended webinars. It took me a few minutes, sometimes a little longer if, based on what you're trying to do, but you wanna put a pricing guide on your website. You talked about pricing and AI overviews kinda putting the price out there. Build a calculator, put it on your website.
Right.
It won't take you long. I had a conversation with someone yesterday because they're worried they took a screenshot of the hourly rate of a plumber and an HVAC tech and some of this stuff, and they're complaining about what these sites are putting out there. And I said, "Well, why don't you put this information on your site?" And of course, nobody likes "Oh, I can't give a price on all that stuff." Yeah, you can. You have a price book. Everyone's got a price book. Why can't you put it out there?
Right.
Because the AI overviews, the more information we put out there that is real, they'll start pulling in some of that stuff. But right now, all the information's on Yelp, Angie, Home Advisor, Google, and they don't care. Their job is to make people click on their ads to serve their customers. They don't actually know what it costs to do business for an HVAC plumbing electrical contractor. So just be authentic and put the information online.
No, that's 100% it. I mean, marketing is about attention. That's it. Right. And those companies want your customers' attention because then they can charge you for that lead. They're willing to do what you're not so that they can get paid for it. And it's really as simple as that. So, yeah, put out the information. I mean, Marcus Sheridan wrote a fantastic
I
book
was
called
actually
They
just
Ask
thinking
You
about him.
Answer,
Yeah, we're gonna have
right?
him on, our podcast in June. Well, it's June,
Oh,
later
awesome.
this month.
I was trying to one of the events in Orlando, he was speaking at another event there, and I happened to see it on Instagram, and I'd reached out to him. I was like, "Dude, if you've got any time at all, I'll come to you. Would love to record with you and do it in person," but it didn't work out, unfortunately. That's really cool that you're gonna
Yeah,
have
I
him
mean,
on.
he did this what was it, like 2012, 2014,
Yeah,
something like way
yeah,
before we all started talking about online pricing. Is he would put the best. I mean, Yelp is a great example. We all know Yelp does like the 10 best contractors in every city in the entire. Well, I don't know how many countries they go to, but Canada, North,
yeah,
the US, they definitely do, and they
mhm,
rank for almost every city because they have that out there. But it's like taboo to do that on your own website. And I'm like, well, why? Why?
right?
Why? You know your competitors. Now, don't be mean about them. Don't don't say things that would maybe incriminate you. But there's no reason you can't do the same thing. And then when that search query comes up, the algorithms are going to take your answer into account. I
Yeah,
did searches for like best HVAC podcast, just like anyone would do, like best plumbing podcast, best this, and you start looking at the sources and you realize that all of these like Service Titan and House Club Pro, they all put these like podcast lists together or best
yep,
CRM lists or whatever. They all do it. You go on Zapier and Zapier will have like Zapier versus this tool, Zapier versus that tool, Zapier versus the third tool. The SaaS companies have figured it out.
yep.
There's no reason we can't do that either because
Well,
that will
so
help a homeowner make a decision on when they're buying a new system.
1,000%. And so I did this. I got total buy-in from one client. This is back in my on-purpose media days. I got one client that was like all in on They Ask You Answer. He got the book, downloaded it. He gave me all of his pricing for repairs. We did a whole blog on that, ranked number one for AC repair in Lafayette, or how much does an AC repair cost in Lafayette, Louisiana. Um, and then we also did top rated companies. And first paragraph, we talked about how we're not going to put ourselves in this list because we want to be completely unbiased when it comes to this list. And then we wrote a paragraph on every company on why we thought that they were one of the top companies in Lafayette, Louisiana. But underneath every single one, there was a book an appointment button. It didn't go to their website. We did give them a link. We gave them a backlink.
That's
We were
great.
nice about it, right? But then every book an appointment button was for us because you're on our site. Why wouldn't we try to book an appointment with you?
That's great, dude. I
So,
like that.
and we absolutely got conversions off of it. And we ranked for who was the best AC company within Lafayette. It was great.
Well, I think, I remember seeing a webinar that Joy Hawkins did with Tommy Mello, oh, 2 years ago, and because Joy talked about she's made her own videos about she's pretty well known in the local SEO space, if you don't know who that
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
And Tommy is or was a client. I don't know if he is anymore, but he was a client of theirs at some point. And so the premise is that Tommy put his pricing on his website, and most home service companies do not do that. They don't put the price of a torsion spring replacement on their website or a garage door opener on their website because, like, oh, got to come out for a quote, got to come out for an estimate. Homeowner just wants to have a ballpark. Like, then they're probably not going
Yeah.
to hold you to that number. They just want to know, is it going to be $100? Or is it going to be $5,000? They don't know,
Yeah.
especially in the day and age where, like, the generation older than us and the one older than that, like the baby boomer stuff, they fix most of their stuff themselves. We don't do that
Hmm.
anymore. It's very rare that we do that. And a lot of times we hire out and we just don't know what stuff costs. So
Right.
it's important for us to have that information on your site. Own that information because it's your information. Don't hide it. I remember I used to, this is 2019 or so, when Google Business Profile, you still put products and pricing and stuff on there, which they're kind of trying to shift away from a little bit, at least for service businesses. I put pricing on our Google Business Profile for just like service calls, tune-ups, like things that were hard priced, not system
Right.
replacements and stuff. My boss
Right.
hated it. He made me take it down. He's like, "We don't put our pricing online." And I'm like, "Why not?" "Oh, I don't want the
Right.
competitors to know." I'm like, "Who cares? Our reputation's
Right.
better than theirs, so who cares?" And honestly, it does more benefit than harm, but it's a different mentality than it should be. Like the homeowner, they got they got all these tools with literally terabytes upon terabytes upon terabytes of data. They know way more than they've ever known. So just give them the answer. Like, just tell them
Right.
what it is because they're already gonna figure it out themselves, and if you don't put it out there, it looks shady. It looks suspicious.
Yep. Well, yeah, why not be the resource, right? And this is Marcus talks about this in the book. He's like, you don't have to give your exact price of what one thing costs, but you can
Range.
give a range,
Yeah,
right?
you have a
And
range
then
in your
describe,
price book, just put the range out there.
yeah, and then describe why is there a range?
What
What would make something
exactly,
on the low end?
what
Well,
could
this one
cause the
only comes with a
difference?
1-year warranty,
Exactly.
right? It's as simple as that. It doesn't have to be super complicated, and you don't have to get specific because another thing in sales, we learned this, is that a confused mind says no. So if you put out too much information, customers going to get annoyed with that too and go bounce and look for something that's simpler. So you've got to make it digestible for people. And that's where a range works. Here's why it's on the low end. Here's why it's in the middle. Here's why it's on the high end. This is what you get for it. Good stuff isn't cheap. Cheap stuff isn't good. Bob's your uncle. Book an appointment, right? Like it's it's that easy. At the end of the day, we want them to pick up the phone. But I did this as a consumer. I was looking for someone to come and wash my windows. And I looked at the first company, no pricing. Looked at the second company, no pricing. Looked at the third company, they had some pricing on there, booked the call. Like it's that simple. And I was like, if I'm doing this as a consumer, guarantee you other people are doing it too.
Yeah, I tell the story a lot, when I'm speaking, is Brittany, she's a year and a half younger than I am, and she books most of our appointments for our house, and if you don't have online
Right.
booking, if you don't have something she can chat on, she doesn't wanna call you. Like, very rare. I don't like calling businesses either. I'm like, is there a number I can text?" Like, I hate
Right.
doing phone calls unless it's someone I know and I wanna talk to, And that's just the way the consumers are these. Millennials are the biggest group of home buyers in North America right now. I'm assuming that's Canada too, but either way, they are the biggest group now for home buyers. So we have to cater to what the biggest group wants if we want to continue to grow our businesses.
Marketing isn't magic, it's math. At Free Agency, we've got the formula tattooed on our brains. We are not a digital marketing agency. We don't just throw things at the wall hoping they stick and call it strategy. We're a fractional CMO. The people who come in, grab the wheel, and drive your growth like it owes us money. Our system isn't guesswork, it's battle tested at the highest level. Last year, our clients averaged 45% growth. We've taken companies from 8 figures to 9 in just 12 months. And here's the kicker: we don't do it by blowing your budget. We do it by spending smarter and focusing on 4 core moves. 1, branding, to drive your brand in your market. 2, paid leads. We bring in high intent leads into the business, customers who are ready to buy. Conversion, focusing on turning those leads into clients. And lastly, nurturing, to increase the lifetime value of every single client. Every step is intentional. Every dollar is tracked. And if you're spending $1 million a year in marketing without a 10x return, yeah, you're flushing money down the drain. We work with ambitious, no BS contractors who don't just want to try marketing. They want to win. So if you're ready for 50 to 100% growth in the next 12 months, let's talk. At Free Agency, we don't just play the game. We rewrite the rules so that you win every time. Yep, absolutely. Um, so we talked about speed to lead. Now we got people in the door. Now we got people calling us. When it comes to operations and answering the phone and doing a great job at that, not excusing calls that were opportunities, for example, or making sure that
Nobody's service titan has that problem.
never, never,
I hope you can
uh,
sense the sarcasm in our voices and responses because almost everybody's data sucks in the trades.
right?
And it's not just a trades problem, but it's just that's where the audience we're talking to. Because we've had to clean up our data on the marketing side. Like even as a
Mhm.
marketing company, we've had to completely clean up our data because it was messy.
Yep.
But the problem is most people don't even realize the data's bad. They're like, wow, we're doing great with existing customers. We kill it, man. Everybody loves us. When in reality, the system automatically puts them to existing if they're already in there, but they came in through a PPC or an LSA or GBP or Facebook ad because oh, I want that other service that you provide because I didn't know you did that. And like,
Right.
oh, existing customer. I'm like, well, we haven't seen them in a year. So should we really give credit to, unless it was like an email or a text message that we sent out to like a direct call to action, you got to give credit to whatever brought them back in. At
But
least
even
in
then,
my
you got to give
opinion.
credit to that text campaign or that email campaign. You can't give credit to existing customer. Existing customer is not a campaign. It never should be. It never should have been allowed. It's not a campaign. They're calling you from somewhere. They are responding to you from somewhere. You need to give proper attribution to that because it helped to maintain and retain that customer. So, existing customer isn't a campaign.
Yeah. Well, and
I'll
if
say
they,
it point blank.
well, and there's so much bad data. I went through
Yes.
this. Actually, I realized this when I was at professional services because I was really studying because I realized that the Google Business Profile at the time was, I'm like, man, our average ticket is like $800 higher here than it is in other places. And I'm like, I was really trying to understand why. But then I was also going through our data and I was like, we go out on an estimate and it was either Google Business Profile or Facebook, whatever it was, got the initial call, but it was a $0 ticket. And then I saw the install when they actually replaced it and went forward with the estimate. It created a new job, which was assigned to existing customer. Those are 10, 15, $20,000. It only takes a couple of those. And all of a sudden that marketing campaign you ran went from not making any money to profitable. And I should
Yep.
do more of it. And data integrity is such a big thing, and it's very hard for small companies to manage this. And that's why one thing that Tersh and I talk about a lot in our course is not we talk about automation and then layering AI in with that, but it's the delegation part because not everything can be done through technology or AI. So you have to be able to delegate certain things to other people, ideally in most cases, it's offshore because it's cheap and they're really good at it.
Yep.
They literally go to school for the things that we don't wanna do because they know that's how they're gonna get hired and they're gonna I mean, them getting $8 an hour in the Philippines is a great way like, that changes their life. Like, they literally will I've had team members making 10 or $12 an hour. They buy their parents' homes over there, and it, like,
And how good
changes
does
the
that
entire
feel?
outlook of their life. We've had people be able to
Yeah.
move from the Philippines, which is still a third world country, to Australia or Spain because they're able to get out and live the life they wanted to just by paying really good people who really appreciate the opportunity, and they do all the things that I don't wanna do, and they're good at it. So, I mean,
So
data integrity, like, that's just one use case to hire a virtual assistant. Get someone that cleans up your data every single day, they listen to the call, they just do all the things that you know need to get done, but you don't wanna spend 20 or $25 an hour to do, and it's an
right.
easy win for you because you're gonna have great data, you're gonna be able to do so much more, you're gonna have them help them analyze it or put together reports or just get you the insights you need so you can run your business.
So what bad data are you looking at? Like when you're because when you're building your war planning, right? You talked about that with CEO Warrior, and that was what they did. Anytime you're doing any kind of game planning at all or goal setting, you're basing it off of the data that you have. And if that data is flawed, then you can't make accurate predictions of what to do moving forward. So when you're analyzing it and you're saying this data needs to get cleaned up, we need to make sure it's accurate. Where are you starting?
The data that I see most often that's wrong is call data.
Yep.
Service Titan classifies a lot of, and I'm using Service Titan because it's the only one that really has a telephony system, and it's the behemoth in the room, the big elephant. So,
Yep.
um, but it naturally classifies a lot of things to abandoned calls, and
Yep.
so that usually has to be cleaned up. And then the problem is the CSR answering the phone determines if it was a lead or an opportunity, and a lot of companies bonus them on booking rates. Like you're giving the keys to the kingdom to the person who actually benefits from it. And it's just not the best way to do things. So phone calls is a big one. And then of course that the difference between like the initial touch point and the actual revenue attribution can get really messy. And I've seen that in client accounts too, because I was trying to understand. And then sometimes people go way overboard on how many marketing campaigns they have. They have marketing campaigns for some of the dumbest things I've ever seen. I think of an example right now, but they have like 10 pages of marketing campaigns. I'm like, why? Most of these don't get
Right.
any calls or any leads. It's just a mess. Like, just get rid of most of this stuff. Anything that you're putting money towards, like if you're doing direct mail, if you're doing Facebook, Google, like those should all have campaigns. But
Hmm.
like if you separating I mean, to me, and again, big companies, you can separate every single email you send out if you want. To me, email marketing as a whole can just be one bucket when you're small. Text message marketing can be one bucket. You don't have to have, like, I get it when you're big, like, you want to know exactly which campaign or which offer did it for you, but sometimes you're going to have data analysis if you go way too deep.
Yep.
But
Well, and even in if you are using Marketing Pro, for example, for your email, um, they're going to give oh, what's it called? You know what I'm talking about? Where they've got like their attribution model that's in there, where anyone that's on the list who opened the email, they're going to attribute back to that email campaign. Have you seen that or no?
yeah, yeah,
Okay,
I mean, it's good that you can get that, but sometimes that's not really the case because they open the email and might do something for you
correct,
5 days later,
correct.
you know? Um,
And there is a window, like, and I know you can set it and do all those kinds of things, but if you're consistent with your email and you're sending it every single week, well, was it this one or was it this one that actually led them to making a buying decision? And so, again, it's somewhat flawed data, but at the end of the day, you got the phone call. So, what's the win here, right? And
yeah.
that's
Well, and to be honest, like, so I'm going through this with Relentless right now because we do webinars, we put out a ton of content, we do a lot of emails, we do a lot of videos, and it's just really hard to pull it apart. Like, if you get one thing from listening to this is your attribution is never going to be perfect. Like, do not try to pull apart every single thing because some things that you do in marketing are going to be top of funnel. It's just awareness, branding. You're not going to know. when you get your brand done, how many calls that directly generated, regardless of whoever wants to claim credit for that brand and the growth, there's a lot more going on behind the scenes. Like it's just one piece of a much bigger puzzle. So
Yep.
that's top of funnel. Like, hey, we just want people to know we exist. We're not even asking you for anything. And that's a lot of the content we do is just like, hey, just trying to help you with when your Google business profile is suspended or you need a new website. We're just going to give you some tips. Down the middle of the funnels, this is really where you want to try to push people down the funnel. So get them to be aware of your existence, then get them something that's valuable. Get them on your newsletter, get them somewhere where all of a sudden they're paying attention to you further and they're going to get closer to that buying decision and then push them down further. That's what ultimately you're going to rank on Google, you're going to rank on ChatGPT or whatever. So that way you get the phone call, but make them aware of your presence. And you do that through a lot of it's through content marketing, video content marketing specifically, local Facebook groups. I mean, I know most of my competitors know I'm in like all of the Facebook groups. I did the same thing in the trades. We dominated Facebook groups. Now, it's a little harder to
Right.
dominate Facebook groups for what we do now because there's so many competitors, but we do very well in Facebook groups. And we get a lot of leads from there because we're always giving content. We're always giving value to people. We're not trying to sell them. We're not trying to book an appointment today. I had 3 people that are like, I just helped because they weren't ranking. They couldn't understand why with their Google business profile. I asked one question. I said, "Is your listing a service area business?" Which means you don't show the address. And of course, 3 people reached out to me like, "Yep, that's me." And I said, "Well, that's why you're not ranking." So I literally just gave them, I didn't ask for anything. And they were too small to work with us anyways, but you just give value to people. Do the same thing in the local Facebook groups. When people ask for a provider, ask a question in the group. Do what everyone else is not doing because everyone's like, "Oh, call my company, call me. I sent you a DM." Nobody asks you to DM them. Just, "Oh, but I sent you one anyways." Ask them a question because there's always people that turn on the notifications for posts or they put F, a dot, following. They have the same problem and they're looking for the same solution. And we're ignoring those people. I've even gone so far as anyone that does following, I ask them a question on what they're struggling with or how can I help?
Right.
Engage those people because then all of a sudden people start looking at you like, oh, these guys are great. Like they're always trying to help me and they're always trying to do what's best. They're not trying to sell me or do anything. There's just so many strategies like this. Like, just pick one that you are listening to and like, "Oh, I can do that." Just pick one. I've heard this one guy, Michael James Johnson. He has a Facebook group that's, pretty good, and he's grown an HVAC company. He leaves videos with those questions and answers in the local Facebook groups. He literally sees the question, puts his phone on, answers the question, drops it in there, and tags the initial poster, and that's all he does. I don't think he
I
wanted me to
love that.
tell anyone that because he's the only one that does it in his market, but it was a great idea. So great ideas can help people grow and just take something like that and just run with it. You will get more business and it's free. It just takes your time.
I mean, 90% of people probably won't implement it even though they hear that anyways. So that's just the
Hopefully
reality
that's the
of it.
lesson they're getting from this hour-long conversation is to just implement something that you heard. Don't just listen to it
One thing.
because you need noise. Implement.
Mhm.
Write something down. Just pick one thing and do it the next time
Yep.
that you get a chance to.
Well, I used to, this was way back when I sold Cutco knives, and I had someone who taught me this, which I absolutely love the idea. You write a check before you go to an event to your least favorite organization. So for most people, that is the political party on the opposite side of which they vote for. And you write a donation check to them for the amount of hours that you spent and what you're worth per hour at an event. So you go to a conference, you go to all these different shows and stuff like that. You need to make an action plan at the end of it. You need to implement something within 48 hours of attending that event. If you don't, you mail in the check. I never had to do it, but I wrote the check every single time that I went to events because I didn't want to write that check. I didn't want to send them 5 grand, 10 grand, 20
Yeah.
grand, right? Because some of those seminars that I went to were 5 days long and there's a lot of information there. But it's, yeah,
That was
incredibly
something
impactful to put something into practice there.
that was something our boss did because he was the one that actually signed up for CEO where Mike Aguilario was big on leverage and creating
Right.
leverage and forcing yourself to do things because everyone wants to grow, everyone wants to get bigger, everyone thinks they want a team, they want all this stuff, but they don't do anything to actually make it happen. Some people
Yep.
need that leverage to do, and if that's you and you know that's you, do things like that. You know, and
Yeah.
also on the flip side, if you do it, reward yourself. Because I think
Exactly.
sometimes that, like, we don't feel the gratification immediately until we reflect back like, "Wow, 3 years ago, I was that size, now I'm here, this is great." Like, I didn't realize how far I'd come. And we don't reward ourselves enough, we just keep grinding, we keep working, we just
Right.
keep head down, we just keep going, and then we come up for air, and all of a sudden, we're 50 or 60 years old, and we're like, "Where did my life go?"
100%. That's something that Robin Sharma talks about. He's like, most people will live the same day every day for 25 to 50 years, call it a day,
Groundhog
and
Day.
that's their life.
Groundhog
Right?
Day, yeah,
Yeah,
the
it's
movie with,
Groundhog Day.
Bill Murray.
Yep.
That's a great movie.
I'm curious what your thoughts are on this because this is something that I've been thinking about for a while now. And, as a marketer, as someone who has made a living off of Google and its existence, I really believe that Google has made marketers lazy and it's made business owners lazy. And when it comes to, creative ideas like that, like posting a video into a Facebook group or even engaging in a Facebook group, it's something that takes effort when we could just go and buy some blue words and generate phone calls for our business. And so I'm just curious, as someone who's made a living off of Google, what are your thoughts on that?
I 100% agree. But I also feel like in about 2 or 3 years, we're gonna miss the days when Google was the only behemoth we had to worry about,
Right.
because it's going to, like, now the one nice thing about having multiple places and having competition is some people can succeed just by doing YouTube or Facebook or TikTok. Like, you're gonna be able to succeed in a lot of different ways, but
Right.
we probably will miss the day when Google owned the lion's share of everything, and because it made it easy to be like, "Okay, I gotta focus on this one platform." Now it's like, now I have to come up with this entire omnipresent marketing system. I have to create content, I have to do email, I have to do text messaging, I gotta make videos, I gotta be in Facebook groups and in Nextdoor communities and subreddit communities and all, like, it's gonna take a massive village to get you where you wanna go because people are searching all over the place these days, and we don't know where they're it's just all over. The younger generation is gonna be a TikTok generation most likely. Even our age is still doing TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. They're searching, like, my 14-year-old she doesn't go to Google. She uses ChatGPT for freaking homework, and
Yep.
she's proud of it, and I'm kinda proud of her too because 'cause I'm like, I she it's a funny story. It's $20 that she pays her own. She has, like, one of those, like, green card, not green cards, but, like, the cards you can put money on for kids and put birthday money on and stuff.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
She We didn't even know she did this until later on when she finally told us. She bought herself a ChatGPT Pro not a Pro, but the $20 subscription. And
Right.
she uploads her homework, and she's very good with it, which is great because she's gonna need to know how to use this in her life when she's an adult. But she ran out of money right at the end of school, and she's asking me if I could pay. Could you put me on your team plan? So and I said, "What the, it's summer. Why do you need it?" "Well, I like using it." I'm like, "No, I'm not paying for your team plan. I pay for my team members to be on that plan, not you. If you can't pay for it, that's you go pick up some dog poop outside and I'll pay you." Like, do something valuable. But kids are using this stuff and they're learning how to, and we all know that they learn at a way faster rate than we are when we get older. So they're going to be super whizzes with this stuff. So that generation is coming very fast, and they're going to be way smarter and way more equipped to do things way faster than we are. So if you put your head in the sand, don't. You need to pay attention to the technology.
Yeah. It was a Tony Robbins thing that I had watched, and he was talking about business in general. And he's like, there's two businesses that you are running currently. And it's the business you are today and the business you're becoming tomorrow. And if you're not putting effort into both of those things, and it's not equal, right? In the beginning stages, it's 95% in the business we are today, because if you don't do that, you're not going to survive. But there's still a portion of your time that needs to be dedicated to the systems you're building so that the business you are tomorrow can be more sustainable. as you continue to grow, I mean, you're at a stage now where majority of your time is spent more in that vision component of running a business and making big decisions, having big meetings, big thoughts. You're growing multiple businesses now between the podcast and phone tap and trade automation pros and your school group. You've got a lot going on, but you're able to live in that place because of what you've built and the effort you put in the beginning. Um, when it comes to marketing and staying ahead of the curve, you need to put a percentage of dollars into testing. What is your R&D? What are you going to continue to do so you can stay ahead of competitors? And a lot of that, I'm sorry, you're not going to like it. It's get on fucking video because that's where people are. That's where the attention is. And if you're not spending some time going around doing podcasts, I think this is a great way to grow your business. You're missing the boat and you're gonna be out of business. Like,
Yeah.
it's really that simple. It's not gonna happen right away. It's gonna take some time, but it is
It's
gonna
not gonna
happen.
take that much
That
time though.
it's
Like,
no,
there's
it's moving
there's
faster than ever.
I mean, honestly, like, when AI and we start talking about robots, people in the trades are like, "Oh, I'll be safe forever." I'm like, "Will you? Really?"
Did you see that robot that does the roofing?
I've seen robots
Right?
that do roofing. I've seen robots. A lot of fast food chains are investing in robotic arms to flip burgers and serve burgers and stuff like that and deal with deep fryers and stuff. That technology is they're getting massive funding. I'm talking tens of billions of dollars. Like the technology where it is now, they're going to move a lot faster. They're hiring some of the best developers, some of the best talent that build all of these different large language models and really understand the technology. They're going to put it into robotic stuff. And
Yep,
those like we've all seen the video of I think it was OpenAI had a robot where they like it picked up an apple and like did the dishes and it that's really fine motor skills.
yep,
Those motor skills will translate into putting uh gauges and stuff on equipment and reading and honestly it'll be waste. Think about it. You don't have to train that technician. It already has all of the information over the last 100, 200 years programmed into its
yep,
brain. So the smartest HVAC technician or electrician that you've ever met, it's smarter than that.
yep.
And at
Well,
some
and
point,
that's
the
why I'm
money's gonna be
surprised
so
that there
worth it.
isn't.
Someone's gonna do it.
Oh,
It's just a
100%.
matter of
I
when.
I'm really surprised there isn't, an augmented reality software program that exists right now that would allow techs to wear like the Meta glasses or the new Google glasses and go out, service a piece of equipment and have it diagnose it while you're, and it's going to tell you what to do and how to figure it out. And like that would speed up learning so fucking
I
fast.
mean, we're getting close. Blue One's got what they of their actual human tech support, that was a 50,000 or 100,000 phone
Yep.
calls. They literally had
Yep.
them all recorded and trained their own large language model on all of the different things that people call in about and how to diagnose. Interplay Learning has, like, the training module, but
They've got the VR training. Yep.
they have their, I can't remember what SAM stands for, but SAM is like a where you can ask it questions, and it will help you, learn, like, actually learn the theory better because it asks I can't remember what the type of, learning system it is. It's some kind of learning system where it asks you the question so you understand, you process it better. Those things are coming. I mean, the big manufacturers are always working on stuff like that so you can diagnose their own equipment. Like, that's where all
Right.
the money's going right now is that development. And so it will at some point happen where literally you can have a green technician. He's probably got like glasses, like you said, hey, this is what I'm looking at. This is what my gauge says. And then they got earbuds in or something that just tells them like, well, it's this. Go fix that part. And you
I
can
mean,
have
the
someone for
speakers on those glasses work tremendously well. You don't even
Yeah,
need it. Your
Church has got
headphones.
he literally on the plane last time, he had the Ray-Bans that like do the can
Yeah.
also record and
Yep.
they have speakers you can listen to music. So he turned it on the plane. He's like, "Can you hear that?" I said, "Yeah, I can, but I don't think anybody else can." And he fell asleep listening to his music.
No, they work great, and I heard I I feel like it was like 4 or 5 years ago now, someone was talking about, artificial, or augmented reality and, like Pokemon Go, right? And they were using that reference and saying, well, you're going to be able to change your own oil now because you can just throw in the glasses and it'll tell you what to do and twist this knob here and put the pan here and do this. And here's the filter, all those kinds of things. And it's just pointing at stuff on your glasses so you can see it. Um, I think all of that is fantastic, and it could be used today. We could be using this right now, using Blue On's information. They've got all the info of how to fix and diagnose every piece of equipment that has ever been made. It's phenomenal. Hats off to them. I mean, their team is so brilliant at what they built with their AI. But yeah, to put that into glasses, I think you could get green techs out there immediately being able to diagnose equipment that would have taken them years to understand. I don't know.
Well, we're all gonna
I
be
would
like
love to see
Iron
it,
Man someday, like, we're gonna have
right?
Jarvis in our head
Our own
telling us
Jarvis.
exactly what to do, what our it's gonna be able to take our vitals and know if we need to sleep or rest or we should push harder, like, I mean, I'm wearing an Aura Ring. These things are great.
Yep,
I know exactly where I'm at and how my day is gonna go based on how I slept last night and what the data tells me, like, everything we do is gonna have data associated with it, so you either need to move in the middle of the woods if you don't wanna deal with any of this stuff off the grid, or you're gonna have to plug in and start learning, and which is
right.
not what everyone wants to hear, but that's the truth.
No, 100%. Any last thoughts you wanna vent about?
Yeah, I do, one more. It does not matter what website program your website's built on, you can rank on AI search, whether it is Duda, WordPress, Webflow, Wix. It doesn't matter. Don't let anyone, there is a marketing company out there right now telling people that they have to have this low code, no code solution. It does not matter. We have with tons of clients ranking for AI search terms with WordPress websites. They're not dead. They're not going anywhere. WordPress is like 40% of the freaking internet. And you think of how big the internet is and how many websites are on the internet. Like it's not going anywhere. So don't believe some of that stuff. If it sounds really too good to be true, just use your best judgment and just be like, that's BS and move on. Like it's not worth your time. You don't need to change your entire business around or build another $10,000 website. So that's my last thing that we didn't cover. I am not mentioning names. Sure, this person already knows I'm not super happy with their posts, and I don't really adhere to some of that stuff. But your podcast called Let's Vent, so I figured I'd mention it.
It's time for you to get it off your chest. I appreciate that. No, 100%. At the end of the day, I mean, and I think going back to everything that we talked about on this episode, at the end of the day, yes, Google is still relevant today. You need to rank on Google. You need to show up there. You need to have an LSA profile. I think you need to be running Google ads to some level and have some knowledge of how that works. Um, but the businesses that are ranking the quickest and the fastest are the ones that have existed for 20, 30, 50 years. They're old businesses that have strong brands, great reputations, provide great service, and people love to brag about them because they do good work. That's what it takes to run a good home service business,
It's really as simple as that. Take care of people,
right?
and they will talk. And the more they
Yep,
talk and say your name, the more you'll show up.
100%. Um, dude, I think you are a shining example of someone who is willing to be consistent and give up the sexy today for the long-term success. You've done it with your health journey. You've lost a ton of weight there. You've done it in your relationship and you're finally getting married there. And you've done it in business. Consistency wins, and you've put your head down and you ignored a lot of the bullshit and you just did the work. And it's incredibly impressive to see. It's amazing to see the 5-year overnight success that you've become. Uh, you're running a fantastic business. You're doing great things for people. You're sharing the good word. You're fighting the good fight. And I really appreciate you coming on and taking some time to vent with me today.
Yeah, it was great catching up with you again. I appreciate the kind words, Evan. Thank you.
No worries. Thanks so much for tuning in. Definitely want to hear what you thought of this episode. Leave a comment down below, let us know. And if you really want to show some support back to us, we could really appreciate if you would hit that subscribe button as well. And if you did want to get notified when we come up with a new episode, hit the bell icon over there. Thanks so much for tuning in, and we'll catch you next week.